Welcome to Liberty Connects, brought to you by Liberty Senior Living. If you're someone who cares about aging well, this is your place to discover what's next and enjoy the journey. Each Liberty Connects podcast is made up of five-minute segments. During this month's episode, our segments are about artificial intelligence, polypharmacy, scams, the importance of the nose, and trying to decide on a name for our prime demographic. I'm your host, Lisa Fielding. Let's get started. What's this button do? AI 101, a friendly introduction. We're diving into the fascinating world of artificial intelligence known as AI. It's everywhere right now. AI appears in headlines, media commentary, dinner conversations, and even your phone notifications reminding you to drink water. Chances are you already interact with it regularly, sometimes without even realizing it. Like any technological leap, AI inspires excitement, curiosity, and a fair dose of apprehension. In many ways, the introduction of this technology is following the same pattern as innovations throughout history. At first, society distrusts it, muttering, "I'll never use that." Eventually, we embrace it, and then forget what life was like before it even existed. Think the horseless carriage. In future episodes of Liberty Connects, we will explore the phenomenon in our What Does This Button Do segment. But first, we're going to break it down a bit. In order to explain what AI, the technological marvel, in fact does, we relied on the words of an expert. In a quasi-autobiographical move, AI provided this explanation of AI. In the interest of full disclosure, we admit we took the liberty of paraphrasing the dialogue a little because, well, we're better writers. In short, AI learns from exposure to huge amounts of data. It looks for patterns, predicts what comes next, and makes decisions based on probabilities, not intuition like humans. In other words, AI doesn't understand the world the way we do. Ask it a question, and it searches its experience for the most likely helpful answer. The more data it has, the smarter its guesses become. At the heart of AI are algorithms. Think of them as recipes that guide AI on what steps to take. Data alone is just ingredients. Algorithms turn those ingredients into a finished dish. Without them, AI would be like a kitchen full of ingredients with no idea how to cook. AI raises its proverbial head in quiet, everyday ways. Smart thermostats learn your routines. Home security cameras detect unusual activity. Ride-sharing apps match drivers and riders. Navigation tools suggest the fastest route, and streaming services recommend shows you might like. There are apps that organize your photos or prioritize your social media feed relying on AI. Email filters detect spam and highlight important messages. AI also powers Google search and chatbots like ChatGPT. These systems can generate text, answer questions, or even help brainstorm ideas, all by analyzing patterns in language. Try it out. ChatGPT can plan an itinerary for a 7-day trip to San Francisco, even suggesting sights to see and the best times to visit. It can also include best tour operators and costs, all in about 4 seconds. Other well-known examples are virtual assistants like Alexa or Siri. They give weather forecasts, tell jokes, set medication reminders, or even help with grocery lists. Here's a simple rule of thumb for determining if something is plain old automation or AI. If a device simply follows your instructions, it's automation. If it learns, adapts, predicts, or interprets data to make decisions, that is AI. But AI is not without concerns. In fact, there are a lot. Privacy is a major issue. AI can generate realistic fake images and videos, contributing to misinformation. There's also potential for job disruption, erosion of human skills, and loss of personal connection. Biases in algorithms can reinforce inequality. And there are broader worries: lack of accountability, cybersecurity risks, environmental impacts from energy-hungry data centers, and even existential threats of AI ever becoming misaligned with human goals. Despite the challenges, AI is a tool that is powerful, adaptable, and increasingly woven into our daily lives. Understanding it and approaching it thoughtfully is key. In future episodes of Liberty Connects, we will explore its many uses, practical tips, and what it means for us today and tomorrow. Whether you're curious, cautious, or are already a fan, there's no denying that AI is here, and it's learning, adapting, and making life just a little bit different for everyone. Living better, polypharmacy, when more is not always better. The good news, actually, the great news, is that we have an incredible number of medications available to us today. There are treatments to ease, prevent, fight, and even cure what once seemed untreatable. The list of today's medications is astonishingly long. There are analgesics for aches, antibiotics for infections, anticoagulants for circulation, antivirals for viruses, antihistamines for allergies, antidepressants for mood, and that is just a small sample of those that begin with the letter A. Add in all of the brand names and generics, not to mention the rest of the alphabet, and it's easy to see how monumentally the list grows. This almost infinite medicine cabinet full of options has played a major role in transforming our lives in a miraculous way. That same abundance, however, can create challenges. When many medications are taken at the same time, the risk of resulting problems increases. This is where polypharmacy comes in. Polypharmacy refers to multiple medications, usually 5 or more, taken simultaneously. In some cases, polypharmacy is appropriate and even necessary. Managing serious or multiple conditions may require more than one medication. But problems arise when medications are accidentally duplicated, unnecessary, interacting negatively, or causing more harm than benefit. At the top of the list of potential negative results of polypharmacy is the increased risk of adverse drug events, including falls, compromised cognitive function, emotional dysfunction, and rehospitalization. Older adults are especially vulnerable. Polypharmacy has emerged as a byproduct of a longer life expectancy, with more older adults living with multiple chronic conditions. At the same time, though, advances in diagnostic tools, medical treatments, and healthcare technology have made it possible to identify and treat more conditions than ever before. Together, these factors have contributed to the steady rise of polypharmacy worldwide, where it is now recognized as a significant public health concern. Each additional medication added to a regime increases almost exponentially the chance of side effects, drug interactions, confusion, and errors. Polypharmacy can develop for many reasons. People often have multiple healthcare providers who may not share complete medication records. Electronic medical records help, but they work best within the same healthcare system, within the same practice, and are updated regularly. When records are not shared, duplicate or interacting medications can slip through. Furthermore, over time, medications might be added, but not always reevaluated. What made sense years ago may no longer align with current health goals or needs. Ironically, some medications are prescribed to treat side effects of other medications. This is known as prescribing cascade. A symptom caused by one drug is mistaken for a new medical condition, and another medication is added rather than adjusting to the original one. Over-the-counter meds and supplements are another factor. These are not often discussed with doctors, even though they can interact with prescription drugs. Transitions of care, such as moving from a hospital to rehabilitation or skilled nursing, can also increase risk. Medication lists change quickly, and details can be missed. Confusion plays a role as well. When people feel overwhelmed by medications and dosing schedules, they may skip doses or even take them incorrectly. And sometimes 2 medications with different names are actually the same type of drug. The encouraging news, though, is that there are many practical steps people can take to reduce risk. Keep an accurate, up-to-date list of every medication taken, including prescriptions, over-the-counter products, herbal remedies, and supplements. Write down what each one was prescribed for and the dosage. Bring the list to every medical appointment and make sure every provider updates their files. Medication reviews with a clinical pharmacy specialist give access to a professional who can evaluate the full medication picture and identify potential concerns. Record any medication changes as they happen, adding to your regime or reducing. Every change matters, and don't rely on memory alone. Write it down. Talk openly with healthcare providers about goals for care, quality of life, and priorities. A medication that once made sense may no longer fit those goals. If a medication seems unnecessary, ask whether it can be reduced or even stopped. This is called de-prescribing, which is a growing trend and one that can be very effective when done correctly. Do not ever discontinue a medication without medical supervision and guidance on how to do so safely. Not ever. When starting a new medication, request the lowest possible effective dose. Weigh the trade-offs of medication. Every medication has potential benefits and risks, and those should be revisited regularly. Avoid triggers. For example, if hot sauce gives you heartburn, choose the mild variety of sauce. Your neighbor's cat gives you hives. Stay away. Your teen's loud music is giving you a headache? Well, make him turn it down. This may eliminate the need to pop antacids, antihistamines, aspirin, etc., as harmless as they may seem. Healthy lifestyle choices significantly reduce and even eliminate the reliance on medications. Nutritious eating, regular physical activity, stress management, and quality sleep all support better health. A balanced approach is always key. It's about using them thoughtfully. The goal is appropriate medication use that supports health, safety, and personal goals. With awareness, communication, and regular review, it is possible to enjoy the benefits of modern medicine while minimizing unnecessary risk. Matters that matter. Scammers are everywhere and counting on you. Scammers. Indisputably, the perpetrators of repugnant, soulless, unconscionable schemes designed to steal information and money from unsuspecting people. They prey on savings, love, generosity, fear, and trust. In short, they are the worst of the worst. And they are everywhere. According to Pew Research, 73% of American adults have experienced an online scam or attack. The FBI reports that scam-related crime led to a staggering $16.6 billion in losses in 2024. Billion with a B. That is not a typo. That's a national gut punch. So why is scamming so common? Well, technology has made it cheap, fast, and frighteningly easy. The sophistication of modern tools combined with widespread access to artificial intelligence allows scammers to exploit every human trait: trust, hope, optimism, occasionally greed, and often the belief that we are simply too smart to fall for something like that. And that belief has a name: optimism bias. It is the quiet voice that says, "I would never fall for a scam." Ironically, it makes us less cautious, turning us into prime targets. Scams come in many flavors, all of them with bad outcomes. There is the grandchild scam, where a frantic caller claims a loved one is in trouble and needs money immediately. This can be dismissed or authenticated by hanging up and calling a relative back using a known number. Romance scams are particularly cruel. Fake online profiles build emotional connections before a request for money appears, often framed as a temporary hardship. Payment is usually requested through Cash App, gift cards, or other untraceable methods. Banking scams begin with unexpected calls, texts, or emails claiming suspicious activity or unauthorized purchases. It's designed to create fear and urgency. You're told to protect your money by moving funds to what they call a safe account, withdrawing cash, wiring money, or using gift cards. Once the money is sent, it's gone. The safest response is to hang up and contact your bank directly using a verified number. Legitimate financial institutions will never ask you to move your money or even share security codes. Government scams that impersonate representatives of the IRS, Medicare, and Social Security rely on authority and fear. Scammers may even pretend to be from the FTC. It is almost impressive in its audacity, given that the FTC oversees and combats scamming. No government agency will ever demand payment via gift cards or wire transfers. Ever. Technology-based scams include fake security alerts that appear to come from Apple or Microsoft. You're told your computer has been compromised or your accounts have been hacked, and that remote access is needed to fix the problem. Your screen might start blinking furiously. Spoiler alert, the only thing being fixed is the scammer's bank balance. Investment scams promise high returns with little risk if you act quickly. Prepaid funeral scams target people planning responsibly. Lottery scams require a processing or tax fee before claiming a prize. Charity scams surge after disasters and use fake links appearing as real causes. Medicare scams seek personal information that is later sold or used for identity theft. Robocalls aim to capture a voice sample that can be used to authorize fraudulent charges. Reverse mortgage scams look generous, but are anything but. Online shopping scams sell items that either do not exist or arrive as sad, flimsy imitations of what was promised. The FTC reports that a growing number of scams are aimed directly at retirees and their life savings. Social isolation increases vulnerability. Less familiarity with evolving technology makes detection more challenging. Years of accumulated assets make older adults especially appealing targets, and many people feel embarrassed reporting suspected fraud, which allows scammers to keep operating unchecked. But there are ways to protect yourself and the people you love. Start by slowing down. Scammers rely on urgency. Be skeptical. Question every unsolicited call, email, or message. Verify identities independently. Check every email address and phone number, and never assume the information you're seeing is correct. And never click on the links provided. Go to the institution's official website for authentic information and proceed from there. Limit what you share on social media and keep accounts private. Financial safeguards matter. Check your credit reports regularly. Be prepared and know how to freeze your credit with Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion to prevent new accounts from being opened in your name. Pause before acting on any unexpected request for money or information. Set up transaction alerts with your bank. Consider moving significant savings to accounts with limited online access. Technical protections help as well. Use call blocking apps, including RoboKiller, Truecaller, and Hiya. Security services software includes LifeLock by Norton, McAfee, NordProtect, and Guardia. Also use strong email filters, reputable antivirus software, and identify theft monitoring services. And under no circumstances should you grant remote computer access to anyone who contacts you. Scammers thrive on silence, speed, and self-doubt. The best defense is your cynicism, conversation, and a healthy amount of justified irritation. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust that instinct. It exists for a reason. And report scams promptly to help protect yourself and others. Contact the Federal Trade Commission to reportfraud.ftc.gov. The Now List. The nose knows. Why the sense of smell matters more than you think. When you think about the senses, the eyes usually have it. Vision is the primary focus, the star pupil that steals the sensory show. We're taught to look closely, keep your eyes open, and watch carefully. After all, seeing is believing. But quietly working behind the scenes is a sense that does far more than we give it credit for. Smell. The nose may not be glamorous, but it is powerful. It links us to memories, shapes, or emotions, and influences how we experience the world and ourselves. While sight tells us what's happening now, scent often reminds us of what has happened before. Smell is different from the other senses in how it reaches the brain. Sight, sound, and touch make a more scenic route through the thalamus, allowing time for interpretation. Scent, on the other hand, travels from the nose to the olfactory bulb and straight to the amygdala and hippocampus, the brain's emotion and memory centers. That direct path helps explain why scents trigger memories that are instant and vivid. Smell is also tied to emotional well-being. When scent is diminished or lost, the impact can be more than inconvenient. Food may lose its appeal, and important warning signals such as smoke or spoiled food may be harder to detect. Cognition can decline. Emotionally, people may feel more disconnected from their surroundings and from others. A loss of some or all of the sense of smell can sometimes signal changes in the brain, including early Alzheimer's disease. Other factors, such as sinus disease, medications, head injury, or viral infections, can also affect smell. So context and medical evaluation are essential. The encouraging news is that smell is not a passive sense. It can be engaged, stimulated, and intentionally woven into daily life. This has led to growing interest in how scent might impact our lives. Olfactory enrichment, smell training, and aromatherapy are ways of using scents to enhance general well-being. Lavender is often associated with relaxation. Citrus scents are commonly associated with alertness and an uplifted mood. Peppermint, frequently described as refreshing and invigorating. In settings such as dementia care, family scents are sometimes used to promote comfort and engagement. The smell of baked bread, a favorite perfume, or a garden flower can spark recognition or even ease anxiety when words are harder to find. In these moments, scent becomes a bridge to connection. One of the most appealing things about scent is how easily it is to incorporate into everyday routines. Lighting a candle, using a diffuser, enjoying the aroma of morning coffee, dabbing essential oil on your pulse points, or practicing brief smell awareness takes very little time. These small sensory moments invite presence and connection in an otherwise busy day. When choosing essential oils or scented products, quality matters. Fine quality plant-based oils tend to provide a more authentic sensory experience and are more likely to create the gentle effects people seek, whether calming, grounding, or uplifting. Of course, scent is powerful and not always pleasant. Certain smells can bring up sadness, anxiety, or even difficult memories. Personal history matters, which is why thoughtful and individualized use is essential. Smell connects us to who we've been, who we are, and how we feel right now. It grounds us in the present while quietly tapping into memory and emotion. The nose may not demand attention, but it deserves it. The nose knows. Perhaps it's time we listen. A few things worth passing along. Names, labels, and the people who refuse them. In 2026, there is a demographic having a surprisingly hard time landing on a moniker that both describes and honors itself authentically. One that disposes of condescension, tired metaphors, stereotypes, outdated perceptions, and anything remotely offensive or cringeworthy. You get the picture. We would tell you exactly who we were talking about, but honestly, we do not know what to call them. Suffice it to say, we mean individuals between the ages of 50 and 110 who are interested in living this chapter of life actively and purposely without boundaries or preconceived notions about what they can or cannot do. They are not interested in slowing down. They're interested in thriving. You see, our podcast, Liberty Connects, was launched to spark conversation, share stories, challenge outdated thinking, and celebrate the energy, curiosity, and possibility that exists well beyond midlife. But in doing so, we're getting a little pushback. A good-sized portion of our intended audience does not like to be labeled at all. We've been generally using the words seniors, and in all likelihood, we'll continue to use it. However, a 78-year-old friend of our team flat out refuses to listen because she does not consider herself a senior, and that's a problem. Our motives are pure. Of course, we want to inform, inspire, and connect people around their wants, needs, interests, and aspirations. If along the way they remember our sponsor, Liberty Senior Living, when considering a move to a senior living community, that is a welcome bonus, but it's not the point. This season of life can be vibrant, bold, meaningful, and fun, and our goal is to shine a light on what's possible. But there are a few challenges. If you don't identify as a senior, you might not be drawn in, regardless of how engaging, fun, and inspiring the dialogue may be. There are many potential terms we could use, but others are downright offensive. Many are inaccurate, and some feel a bit dated, awkward, or just plain wrong. If you're thinking we should simply refer to people by their names, we absolutely agree that's polite and respectful. It works beautifully one-on-one. It's just what we want for thousands of listeners. We need a way to speak to many people at once without shoving them into a box they'd immediately try to climb out of. As we navigate this conundrum, we also need to consider the role technology plays in building our audience through SEO or search engine optimization. That's the not-so-glamorous tool that helps prospective listeners find us in a sea of millions of podcasts all vying for attention. To narrow the field, we need to use terms in our scripts and promotion that people actually search for on the internet, even if those same terms make some of us wince a little. For instance, if we never use the word seniors, people who identify with or search for that term may never find us. See the irony? Here are a few possible names that have come up, along with the reasons we struggle with them. Boomer or baby boomer. This reference to the generation born between 1946 and 1965 is a distinct possibility, although surveys show some people dislike it. Furthermore, the time span is not all-inclusive of our demographic, which includes adult children of the boomer generation and people aged 80 and beyond. Additionally, it's come to our attention that okay boomer is a term of derision. Old. While it's absolutely a privilege to grow older, our culture's obsession with youth has made this word feel a little negative and dismissive. Aged. The term regularly used to describe whiskey, steaks, and cheese, all of which we love, but none of which we want to be compared to. Retirees. This assumes a lifestyle that simply does not apply to all. There is a reason that what was originally the American Association of Retired People is now simply AARP. Plenty of older adults are still working, building businesses, or launching second and even third careers. Senior citizen. This one feels bureaucratic and outdated, as if it came with a pamphlet and a folding chair. Mature adult. Hopefully all adults have reached some level of maturity. Hopefully. Seasoned. As a protester put it, I am not a meal. Geriatrics. This demotes an entire group of people in a medical specialty. Elders. When used respectfully within Native American or other cultures, it's meaningful and earned. Used casually elsewhere, it can feel a bit forced. 60 or 65 plus. With today's longer life expectancy, 60 to 65 is far more aligned with middle age, and therein lies the problem. Middle age. Since middle age technically starts earlier than many people realize, this term tends to dismiss the age group that comes after. Older people. Everyone is older than someone else, which makes this both true and completely unhelpful. Elderly. This word too often implies disability, dependence, and decline, none of which define the people we're trying to reach. And silver fox, or anything involving silver. Many people are not gray, do not plan to be, and would rather not be described like the finish on a kitchen faucet, even if you throw in the fox part. Which brings us to some options that are at least a little more fun. Milestone collectors, active agers, older than yesterday, vintage VIPs, legends in progress, the classics, age to perfection, time-tested, high mileagers, and premium editions. For a term that is all-encompassing, positive, and respectful, we like prime-timers. That seems sincere and inclusive, right? Well, we've decided to turn the microphone over to you. What do you want to be called that will capture your attention and make you feel seen, respected, and accurately represented? On the other hand, what terms make you roll your eyes? We promise to pay attention to your input and we'll share some of your suggestions. After all, this podcast is about you, whatever we end up calling you. I hope today's stories and insights have inspired you to enjoy life even more. Be sure to tune in on the 5th of each month for more Liberty Connect stories and ideas. Please subscribe to our podcast and share it with family and friends. To learn more about us, visit libertyseniorliving.com. I'm Lisa Fielding. Thanks for joining me.